So as I mentioned in my prior video, Do-It-Yourself Xbox Kiosk, this is the display case. Now, story about how I got this case is a little interesting. I used to help out at what you could call an antique shop. A guy did estate sale buyouts of what merchandise didn't sell, and then he resold that. So I helped out up there from time to time. And when he was finally closing up shop, he was selling off, bookcases that he had, shelving and the like, stuff that he just didn't need. And that included this case. Now what actually happened is a friend bought this, but after a few months they decided they didn't want it. And they happened to live just down the street at the time, so we just went on and moved it over here, and I loaded it up with all kinds of stuff I had just sitting around. So if we go on and start taking a look at the items in the case, should be pretty interesting. Please ignore the messiness of the case. This is one of those cases where you can't really get it fully clean on the inside, and the outside with cats running around, it just isn't happening. We got a boxed copy of OS2 Warp and the boxes for Cosmic Ark and Atlantis on the Atari 2600. A friend of mine gave me her copies of Pokemon Gold and Silver. They need new batteries though before they're really playable, so what can you do? We have little bead art of Mog from Final Fantasy VI. Boxes for some Apple iPhone 4, I believe. Or one's probably, I think, the 3S, and the other is an iPhone 4. It doesn't matter. iPhone boxes. Got a copy of Windows XP, and in front of that, a copy of DDR Konamix for the PlayStation 1. Really good, DDR release for the US anyway. You got the Pokemon Handbook, which we found probably at Goodwill, might have been laying around somewhere else, I don't know. Copies of Eunice's first and third albums, still sealed, because I'm a big fan of hers. Laguna statue from Final Fantasy VIII. Record of Lodoss War on VHS. Found this at Goodwill and thought, hey, why not go on and get it? That boxed copy of Crystallis that Nap and Retro Gaming bought me last year. So that's pretty cool, sitting there kind of front and center. Not so much front, but definitely in the center. Over here, we got the box for an Aperture Labs Sentry turret. It's sitting in my room, but the box looks cool. We have the universal power supply for an original Xbox. It's in there. I've gotten better power supplies for my Xboxes recently, because this one, at least for my version 1.0, it was causing that whole ripple problem that I didn't want to deal with it. Back up here, we have not sealed copies. We have my copy of Duke Nukem Forever for PC. Yes, I bought it full price on release day. No, I don't regret it, but yeah, Duke Nukem Forever, enough said. But we also have my signed copy of Guild Wars 2, signed by Steve Bloom, who did the voice of Ridlock. So that's really cool. Over here we have some boxed Atari 2600 and 7800 games. Well, the boxes for the games. The games themselves are hanging out in my room, although I think Dark Chambers is actually in there. On top of that, we have one of my Harisu albums, actually the only Harisu album I have. I keep it in there because it's just cool to display. We have Akira on the Famicom sitting back there, along with what should be Volgard 6, I believe is the game's name, sitting in front of it. Spy Hunter for the ColecoVision and Atom computers. Statue of Koran Lee from Sakura Wars. Sakura Wars being one of my favorite animes, and a really good game series that only had one release in the US. We have a copy of Windows 8 Pro. Yes, that's my actual purchased copy. I liked Windows 8, get over it. Some floppy disks, that's just the best place to store them. Skyrim on PC hanging out way back there. We have 10 of the 12 Arcadia Supercharger games that were released for the Atari 2600. Yes, Atari games on tape. Right there we have the memory card for a Game Shark. I can't remember if that's the PlayStation 1 or PlayStation 2 one, I believe the original PlayStation. And hanging out right there, we have some Intellivision games that are signed by Ken Smith, the person who actually wrote and programmed them. He later went on to JPL and has actually worked on the Curiosity rover on Mars, as well as some other things. In fact, anti-static bags that I have lying around that these carts were sent in carried components that are part of that rover now on Mars, so that's really, really cool. So I'll just give you a nice little pan over the top row again. because why not? Ready to go to the bottom row? I know I am. Starting on the side of the bottom row, we have some Sega Genesis cartridges like Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, Sonic 3, and way back in there, Street Fighter 2. Over here, and I found this at Game Exchange, is a copy of Project Gotham Racing that was purchased from the Microsoft Company store. So I thought that was really cool. Kinda odd. We have the PSP camera, Japanese of course, it was never released in the US. Works just fine, I just have no need for it. Here we have one of my many Ataris. This is a Sears, I believe, yeah, Light 6 switch model. And we have the box for a Sears Video Arcade 6 switch model. Now it's a funny story, I was at Disconnection, saw this box lying around, asked how much they'd charge me for it. They were like $2. So I said, sure, I'll take it. Over here we have a still sealed copy of Berserk. It's a little beat up, not that you can totally tell in here. If I turn around you might be able to see, nah you really can't. Asteroids. But yeah, this was $1.99 back probably in the 84, 85 range during the crash, so still cool to have a sealed copy. Here we have some spare Atari cartridges that I have lying around to kind of complete the Atari motif right here. Blue Dalek, why not? Sled Storm on the PlayStation 1, one of my favorite PlayStation games. I actually have a second copy of this, that's the one I play, so I put this copy here because why not? Right here we have one of my many Sega Genesis just hanging out. This one happens to be, I believe, the one with the broken reset button. Certain Genesis Model 2s have just dead reset buttons, so no big, but isn't the best thing in the world. Over here we have a couple of PlayStation 1 DDR games. DDR 5th mix, 3rd mix, signed by OMG Khan, so shout out to Mark. And European release of Dancing Stage Party Edition. 5th mix and Party Edition I recall getting from my friend Tim, so shout out to Twinzor, woohoo. Back here we have one of my favorite games of all time, Lunar, in this case Silver Star Harmony for the PSP. It's complete in box. The disc is hanging out in my room, probably inside of the PSP right now. But yeah, really good RPG. If you ever get a chance to play Lunar in any capacity, I definitely recommend it. Wonderful game. We have Bayonetta for PS3. Fun story, I bought Bayonetta new, thinking it would convince me to get a PlayStation 3 if I went on and spent the money for a game for it. Because I really liked what Bayonetta was going to be. I was like, ooh, this looks good. And I never bought a PlayStation 3, so go figure. Down there we have the anime Dirty Pair Flash, I believe, just hanging out. The Power Rangers tapes have actually moved up. They should be further back, sitting on top of the PlayStation 2 Slim that's back there. Copy of Hang On / Safari Hunt for the Sega Master System. Way back there we have my boxed copy of Sakura Wars 5, or Sakura Wars So Long My Love, I believe, the US set game. Need to finish that sometime. It's a really good game. Sakura Wars is an odd turn-based strategy title, plus dating sim combination. So really interesting. Here we have an old tower model PlayStation 2. This one has a problem of it does not read DVDs anymore, so it's one of those units. Tucked away back there we have Civilization 5, because why not, and some Atari 5200 games, including good old Pac-Man. There we have a PSP and a PS1 console with the Creeper sticker on it that I've affectionately nicknamed the Creep Station. Here we have the only working Atari 5200 controller I happen to have with the Defender overlay placed in it. And here we have my Atari 5200 and Defender. A little horse statue that we actually got from my buddy Adam. Here we have the TV switch box for the Atari 5200 and the box for the switch box. And in the back, one of my two autographed Michael Jackson albums. So yeah, that really kind of runs through the case. I know it was kind of a quick rant, but that's what I got on display in here. I need to clean it up a bit, pick up some stuff. It's been bumped around. The cats run on this thing all the time. But it's pretty cool to have, and really odd to have like a store display case inside of your own house. As for the back, where things are a complete mess, it's got your pretty standard sliding glass doors, nothing special, and a light switch to control the lights. Plugs in pretty normal, has its own outlets on the back. So in theory, if I ever was to open up my own store like I'd want to, you could have a TV sitting on top like we do here and have a console hooked up and just sort of use it as a demo kiosk in much the same way as you would the demo kiosk I set up in the previous video. So that's really about that. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch everyone next time.